My name is Žilla. I'm an ethical hacker, red teamer, cybersecurity enthusiast. I started my journey playing some capture flags, then studied the cybersecurity at university, and now I will explain to you how to hack a large company. Regular penetration tests have some phases. Also, a red teaming operation follows some guidelines. If you try to Google right now what are the phases of a red teaming operation, you will probably find a few different results. It is the case also in our client, because every red team operation is special and you have to adapt to the environment. So in our case, it was the OSINT phase, followed by virtual perimeter testing, then followed by Wi-Fi testing. Then we jumped on the physical penetration test to have some foothold in the network, implanted the rogue device, started the phishing campaign to access the domain, silently explored the domain, mapped the Active Directory, and took over the domain controller. So imagine a large organization with thousands of employees, organization that invests in security, in processes, and its people. Despite all the measures, they ask themselves the question, what if a well-organized and motivated group of attackers targets us? Their goal was clear. They wanted to find out how far an attacker could get if they target or attack specifically them. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me today to guide you through a true story of a red team operation. No limitations, no restricted scenarios, just a simulation of a real-world attack. It was an exercise designed not to uncover only technical weaknesses, but also to test human factor and a physical perimeter. So we started with an OSINT phase. We basically tried to identify as many publicly available informations as possible. So we grabbed some IP addresses, domains, subdomains, employee locations. We also tried to enumerate or search through the leaked password databases. For our surprise, only a small percentage of employees show the affiliation to the company on LinkedIn. That is also a sign of investing into cybersecurity or security and its employees, as it's harder for an attacker to create some phishing or social engineering if he doesn't know the target. One of the crucial points in this operation was finding an exact format of email addresses, first name, last name, @company.com. After the OSINT, we moved to the perimeter, virtual perimeter testing. So basically everything available from the internet. We scanned the IP range, identified open ports, active services, their versions. Then we try to enumerate if there are any known weaknesses, some publicly exploitable CVEs, outdated software. Unfortunately, perimeter was hardened. There were no outdated softwares, no publicly available CVEs or exploits. Even when we tried to penetrate the web application or VPN gateways, we had no luck. The client clearly confirmed that regular investment in security had paid off. So we decided to leave the comfort of virtual space. We went into the action. Bond movie started. We grabbed our Wi-Fi antennas, Wi-Fi adapters, and sit into the car and went to the client's physical location to conduct a regular Wi-Fi penetration test. After a while, we realized that even the client's Wi-Fis are well patched and hardened, as they were using VPA2 enterprise protocol, so clients were authenticated with client certificates. So there was no option to capture the handshakes and crack them offline later on. Also, the access points were fully patched, so there was no option to create a rogue twin or do some deauthentication attacks. So, this is our antenna and directional antenna, yep. We had to think like a real attacker. When we could not penetrate the network with even the Wi-Fi, we decided to conduct a physical intrusion. During the OSINT, we have found a company specializing in fire safety. So we needed a plan to get inside. A credible pretext that was led us behind the physical perimeter, unnoticed, and without revealing our true intentions. So we decided to use this company as our plan to get inside. This is a false identity. The contract also included tabulated appendix with a list of fire extinguishers with their detail label. So we prepared our uniforms, affixed the logo to work overalls, and jump into the car and drive to the client's location. We were greeted at the reception desk by security guard, and after a quick verification, we were escorted into the building. As uniform technicians, if there are technical uniform technicians, you have a trust in them, as they are experienced, they specialize in something. So after a while, after we were escorted to the building to conduct fire extinguishers inspection, security guards' vigilance faded. We were left unsupervised in a meeting room. On a first sight, nothing special. Just a meeting room, big table, a lot of chairs, screen mounted on the wall. But after better looking behind the TV, we have found RJ45 network socket. So we quickly grabbed our rogue implant, connected it to the network, ensured its proper functionality, and quickly left the room to do not raise any suspicion and continued our fire extinguisher inspection. This rogue device is basically a Raspberry Pi with some additional modules. It also has LTE connectivity, so you can remotely control it. With the feeling of a professionally executed job, we left the building, and client didn't realize that they had opened a door for an attacker to their internal network. From a previous experience, and assuming that the client's security is at high level, we knew we needed domain credentials to further compromise the domain. So we decided to start a quick phishing campaign. As we already had a rogue device in the network, we looked through the internet and found a portal which we copied its visuals and deployed it on a domain that had looked very similarly, as you can see on the slide. But there is a slight typo here. Instead of M, it's RN. And here is also a misspellation, or how is it called? So we waited for a while, and when we got first hit, so we obtained first credentials, we verified them, and quickly destroyed whole infrastructure. As we now had valid credentials and access to the client's domain, we needed to map the Active Directory and continue to hack the domain controller. We decided to do not use any automated scripts or noisy tools to not trigger any alerts, as that would reveal us. So we started to manually mapping the Active Directory with LDAP queries. We tried to imitate a normal communication to do not raise any more suspicion or triggering any alerts, as there were also firewalls and IDS, IPS monitoring system actively monitoring the traffic. We have found some account groups, but most importantly, we have found a certificate authority. From previous pen test, we knew that certificate authority have some known vulnerabilities that if exploited, we can obtain an easy access to the whole domain. For our luck, it was this case. So we use a tool called Certipy to enumerate the certificate authority. The vulnerability is called ESC8. We knew what to do. We needed to start a listener, so we used a tool called NTLM Relay X to capture or listen for incoming NTLM authentication hashes. And we use also a tool called NetExec with its module Coerce Plus to provoke or exploit another vulnerability on domain controller to authenticate to our listener. We were lucky, we obtained the hash and exploited the ESC8 vulnerability to request a valid certificate in name of domain controller from a certificate authority. After a while, we have obtained a valid certificate, and now we basically held the master key to the whole domain. We could now try to either request a ticket granting ticket or try to use DC sync to receive all the hashes of the computers and accounts on the domain. At this moment clearly showed that even the best technological security can be overcome if the environment, patience, and comprehensive preparation is in place. So, if I have to pinpoint any recommendations for you from this red team operation, it will be these three. Even the best perimeter security is not enough. It wasn't that far much recently that we thought that when we have a firewall, we are basically safe. That's not true. If there is an attacker who can get behind the firewall, so past the perimeter, he is basically inside the network without any protection. So all efforts to protect the perimeter are in vain. The success of an attacker is a matter of motivation. If there is a well-organized group of people without any limitations in budget or time, it is just a matter of time until they get inside your network. Doesn't matter if it's phishing, social engineering, or some zero day in your firewall or other applications. Physical security and human factors are as critical as technology. Not only the systems, but also a human mind can be exploited. And usually for an attackers, it is the easiest way, as they do not need to have any technological knowledge or try to bypass your firewall. They simply pick up the phone, call you, or send you a phishing email. To sum up the presentation, or this red team operation, I recommend you not only to focus on the perimeter or endpoint detection and response applications, but to also strengthen the physical security and take also a look at the visitor processes. As like this red team operation, there are other means how to get inside your company. So this is a proof that real attacks do not follow the rules of a standard pen test, and that attacker doesn't care how much are you in compliance with the law. They simply get in. Also, regularly audit all your vectors. So take a look at your firewall, your old Nginx server, your outdated source code, and maybe invest some time into patching old vulnerabilities or refactoring your code. As based on our experience, in addition to the firewall, it's also a good practice to raise awareness in cybersecurity among your employees. That's all from me. Thank you.
Any questions to Adam in the audience?
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question regarding the device that you implanted in the target company. Did you make some effort to make it look like a legitimate device, or was it implanted as you shown in the presentation?
Yeah, thank you for the question. In this case, it was exactly as you saw it, but for our luck, it was usually when you are in a meeting room, there is a TV mounted on the wall, so you can put anything behind it, and it's basically invisible. So in this case, it was like you saw it on the slide.
And what was the time frame of the operation?
Like whole red teaming or just implanting the device?
I mean, for how long was the device implanted in the company without anyone noticing?
Until we were finished. A couple of days, 2 weeks.
And if I can, I have one last question.
Okay.
So the network socket in meeting room was like it had the connectivity to the wall internal network of the company?
Yes. It was a flat network.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any more questions? I see two.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to ask roughly what's the resources you have to spend on something like this? Just how many people or how long does it take, if you can share? Thank you.
Yes, these are general information, so I can share. We were, depends like from the time span, like one person started, then we went like 2 people to the premises doing the fire extinguisher inspection. But the whole operation, like 4 or 5 people were invoked, and it took like 3-4 weeks as far as I remember.
Thank you. Maybe one more. How many fire extinguisher checks have you done in your life already?
Only this one.
Great. There was one more question.
Thanks. Very, very nice talk. I wonder, and now I'm prefaced with this, that it worked. It's like from the perspective of the attackers, you said like the attackers don't care. But I wonder from the perspective of your company, when you impersonated the fire company, was it a real company?
Yes.
Because you get, or you should have like a get out of jail card for the client. But when you are impersonating another real company that has no connections to the client.
But there was a connection to the client. It was like during the OSINT, we found the contract between the client and a fire safety company.
Does that give you get out of jail card for impersonating another real company that just the client has contract with? And now I know that like the attacker would not care, but and I'm not a legal person, so I'm just wondering, was this sort of illegal because you impersonate someone who did not give you the rights?
Okay, that's discutable, but I mean, it was done with a good intention.
Oh, that's, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? I mean, like if you were caught on the premises, likely the get out of jail card would get you out of the jail, but I just wonder if what are the legal aspects of impersonating someone like this?
Like it was like in the scope, so the contract was publicly available. Anyone could do it. For our clients, like we did it. So I don't know the legal aspects of that, but I'm here. Also, my colleagues are here, so. It's
good for you, but maybe I would ask the legal department next time.
Right, I see one more question.
So in this case, it was a pretty well-protected company, and you were escorted in by security. So I assume that it's the security who should have been educated a bit more in how to validate anyone being escorted in. Now, one question would be how much validation did they actually do? How much convincing did you have to do to get in? And another thing is, what should you actually do to educate them better and educate your employees to prevent this from happening?
Yes, it was just like a quick valid verification. I didn't look into their papers or so. Maybe they just pretended to check that we should be there. But that's the processes that should be set in every company. If some random person comes to the door knocking like he's the specialist in fire safety coming to perform scheduled fire extinguisher inspections, things like this shouldn't happen. There should be some centralized calendar or someone who knows if there is something like this scheduled, so things like these don't happen. There were also some sub-questions.
Well, generally just how difficult it was for you to get in. Like, you just walked in and said you came from this company, and they went behind the desk and went over to you again and said, okay, fine, let's go
in this case, yes.
Okay.
Fortunately for us. Does it answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like people are fishing for a manual here, you know, like, so what did you say? How long did it take? How much did it take? Is it legal here? Central and Eastern Europe, guys, most of things are legal. Any other questions?
It's quite surprising to me that the external perimeter was pretty solid, quite secure, and then as soon as you were in the network, there was basically just a flat network, and you've found the certified thing immediately. Is this something that's quite common, or is this an outstanding case in your experience?
Thank you. Okay, yeah, that's the problem, or the habit that came from the past, thinking that if I have a firewall or a secure perimeter, I'm safe. So that's the new approach, like zero trust or insider threat, that you should apply to your company. But at least in Slovakia, I think it's pretty common thinking that I have a firewall, I am secure against anything.
Thank you very much, Adam. I think you, round of applause for a team of firefighters. I think I saw once something on YouTube where it was like, you know, people pretending they were just wearing random uniforms, and they would get into different buildings, into hotels, into companies, and everybody would be like, ah, yeah, you're wearing uniform, sure. Pass by, I guess now we have a confirmation that it's indeed how it may work. Thank you very much, Adam.